Ready? I'm ready. Ready to learn with you today and have some fun along the way because you're awesome and amazing. There isn't anyone in the whole wide world who can do what you can do. So, are you ready? Ready to learn with me today and have some fun along the way. Ready, set, go! I'm so glad to be with you. And today we're going to talk about things that are yummy and yucky. Now, I don't think we want to taste anything that's yucky, but sometimes we taste yucky things to know if they're yummy. And do you know what letter that starts with? That is letter Y. Yeah. Let's look really carefully at these pictures. Yolk, yellow, yo-yo, yell, and yawn. Yeah, yummy, yucky, and all these things start with letter Y. So you know what? To start with, let's see if we can find a letter Y. Are you ready? What letter is that? U, K, oh, you're good at this, Q, I, Z, N, S, H, T, D, E, V, B, oh, I know what's in here, W, J, G, Y, there it is. Guess what we're going to do with letter Y? We need to yell and then yawn. Are you ready? Ah! Oh, that yell kind of scared me a little bit. But that yawn was so relaxing. Did that feel good to yawn? Did it feel good to yell? Sometimes it feels good to yell. I hope you didn't scare anyone when you yelled, because we don't want to scare anybody with our yells. All right. We're going to use our 5 senses today, and we're going to do some checking to see when we're cooking. Do you think a chef needs to know how things taste and smell and see if the ingredients are fresh and hear if they're cooking right and be able to tell if they're cooked by using their touch or they're mixed up the right way? You have to use all 5 senses while you're cooking. You know what? Another thing a chef has to do is use a recipe. Do you know what we're going to make today? We're going to make some waffle brownies. Does that sound yummy? We're going to cook them not in an oven. We're going to cook them in a waffle iron. Now, whose job is it to do the cooking? Is it a kid job or a grown-up job? It's a grown-up job because we don't want to get burned. Grown-ups are really good and they've had lots of practice, so they won't get burned. But little children should not use something that hot because it could burn your fingers, and we do not want to make it so our touch doesn't work because it's burned, do we? So we need grown-ups to help us. Let's talk about the things that we're going to need, and we're going to mix them up. I have a bowl right here. We're going to mix up things in the bowl, and we're going to make some brownies. We're going to test things using our 5 senses while we work on it, okay? Now, the first thing you have to do when you are making something, what do you have to do with your hands? You've got to wash them. Do we need to make sure our hands have all the germs washed off of them? All right, so let's get our hands washed. And guess what? Miss Connie just washed her hands because I don't have a sink right here. So I washed them before I got here. So you need to make sure you wash your hands so that they're nice and clean. Because when we're cooking and we're touching things and opening things and breaking eggs, we need clean hands. Okay? We're going to make this, and then while they're cooking, we're going to make a chef hat. All right? So we're going to need a cube of butter. We need to take it and take the wrapper off of it, okay? Can you take the wrapper off of your butter and then you can put it in the microwave and melt it. Miss Connie already did that because my microwave's in the other room. So here's our butter. Look at it. Can you see how melty it is? It's all melted right inside of there, all runny. It used to be like this, but now it's like this. That's kind of cool how it melts. All right. Another thing that I'm going to need is I'm going to need to hook up some beaters. You can stir it with your hands, but it's kind of easier with beaters. So guess what? Are you going to need some grown-up help with our project today? Because children should not be using beaters. It's a grown-up job. They can help you use them, but it's a job for grown-ups. Well, and my beaters weren't going in there very good. Let's try that one more time. There we go. Okay, and we got to plug it in. I've got a plug right here behind me. So now my beaters are ready. Let's look at our recipe. Chefs always have to look at the recipes. It says to melt 1 cube of butter. We already did that. Then 7 tablespoons of cocoa. Have you ever used cocoa before? You can use any kind you want. And let's smell it. You need to smell your cocoa. Can you see that cocoa powder? Now, this is kind of tricky. There isn't any sugar in cocoa powder. If you would drink some hot cocoa and you put it in hot water or hot milk, it has sugar in it. This does not have sugar in it. So if you were a chef, would you need to test it and make sure it tastes good? So guess what we're going to do? Miss Connie is going to get a little tiny knife right here. And I'm going to get a tiny bit of the powder. Can you see that tiny bit of powder? I put a tiny, tiny bit on there. And I'm going to take it and I'm going to dump it on my finger. Now, guess what? I'm just going to put a tiny bit. Okay, can you see that tiny bit on my finger? I'm going to taste it and see if it's yummy or yucky. I'm using my nose to smell it. It smells yummy. Do you think it's going to taste yummy? Let's see. It's chocolatey, but guess what? It's not really a good chocolatey. It needs some sugar. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a drink of water. Did you taste it? Your tongue can taste it. And you know what? After you get some water, you can kind of taste the chocolatey. But I don't think I'm going to eat it plain. I think I'm just going to take it and I'm going to put it inside the butter. So we're going to need a measuring spoon. This big one right here is a tablespoon. So I'm going to stick it in here and I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to put this cocoa right here and I'm going to scrape off the top of it. Now, will you help me count it? I'm going to dump it right inside of our butter. So 1, will you help me? Let's do another one. 2. 3. 4. 5. Oh, you're doing a good job counting. Thank you. 6. 7. Okay, let's look inside of it and see what it looks like. Oh, can you see that powder in there? Guess what we need to do now? We're going to have to take it and we're going to mix it up. Ooh, it's kind of powdery. Okay. Now look inside of there. Is that looking kind of good? Ooh, smell it. Does it smell good? Okay. Now, let's look on our recipe and see what our recipe says next. Miss Connie put the recipe somewhere. Where did I put it? Do you ever lose things sometimes? Miss Connie does. Okay, 4 beaten eggs. So do you know what that means? We've got to take 4 eggs and we've got to put them inside of our bowl. Our egg's a little bit messy. Okay, we're going to take these eggs. Here's one. And we're going to take it, we're going to crack it on the side. And we got to open it up and drop the egg in. Oops. If you drop the shells in, do you need to take them out? We don't want to cook the eggshells. Okay, let's try another one. There's one. Can you see it in there? Let's do another one. 2. Oh, another eggshell fell in. All right, let's try another one. Does it need to be a brown egg or a white egg? The insides are the same, so it doesn't matter. You can do either one. Whichever kind you have. There's another one. There's 3. Ooh, I'm getting kind of gooey fingers. Are you getting gooey fingers? Okay, let's do number 4. There's the last one. And now I need to wipe off my hands because they're all gooey. So you can use a paper towel or some wet wipes. And we're going to wipe our fingers off because that's going to be kind of sticky if we leave them on there, isn't it? All right. So now my hands are clean. We got to take the mixer. So is this your job or a grown-up job? It's a grown-up. There's our eggs. Let's put them in here. We're going to mix and mix and mix. All right, let's look at it. Oh, now it's all runny. Can you see how runny that is? All right, next we're going to need to make, the next thing on the recipe says to mix together and add. You know what we're going to do? We're going to put it in all in there and then we're going to mix it up with a mixer. So the first thing says 1.5 cups of sugar. So I have some regular sugar right here. We're going to take it, and this is 1/2 cup. So 1.5 cups means 1/2 and 1/2 makes 1, and then another 1/2. So I need 3 scoops, don't I? Okay, you ready? There's, help me count them. 1, 2, 3. All right. We've got 3 of those in there. Let's see if we can look at it. There we go. Next, we're going to do 2 cups of flour. And I have this right here is a whole cup. So I only need 2 of those. So here's the flour. We're going to dip it. Is it full? Okay. 1. Let's do another one. 2. All right. And then we need to put in there some salt. I have some salt right here. And we need 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So remember we use this big one? We're not using the big one for the salt or it would be way too salty. We're going to take this one right here. And you probably can't see it on there, but it little tiny thing says 1/2. So we're going to open up the salt and we're going to pour some salt on here. Just really carefully. Can you see the salt on there? I'm going to shake it around. Okay. You ready? Put that in. Okay. Let's look and see what it looks like now. Oh, it's got all this stuff. Okay, now we're going to take our mixer and we're going to start mixing it up. Oh, wow. That's going to look really, really delicious. Okay, you know what? Look at that. It's all mixing together. We're not having, see how we had a whole bunch of stuff on the bottom? Now it's getting all mixed in, isn't it? And it's gonna make it really super yummy. All right, now let's look at it. Does that look good? And you know what? It's fun to lick the beaters. Do we lick the beaters when they're moving? Nope. Now guess what? One more thing goes in our waffle brownies. Some vanilla. We need 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So let's get this out. We're going to take off this lid and we're going to do 1 of these. So here we go. We're going to fill it up. And we're going to pour it in. Okay, now we're going to do 1 more mix. And then we're going to need a waffle iron. Now guess what? Waffle irons can be very hot. So this is such a grown-up helping project today, isn't it? We're going to plug in, well, let's mix this up first. Let's finish mixing it. Now we've got that vanilla in there. We got to mix it one last time. Can you see that in there? All right. There we go. It's all mixed up and ready to go. Now guess what? I have a cookie scoop. It's kind of like an ice cream scoop. Or you can just use a regular spoon. We've got our waffle iron. You can use a little one or a big one. We're going to look inside of it. Can you see it? And we're going to put the dough right on the bottom. All right. So I'm going to get my little cookie scooper and I'm going to get a little scoop of dough inside of it. You know what? I'm actually going to put them on here and then I'm going to show you what it looks like. Because I can't hold it. We're just going to do 2. Can you see those on there? And then we're going to close the lid on it. And we're going to let it cook for 1. They're kind of big cookies, so we're going to let it cook for 2 minutes. All right, are you ready? Okay, and you know what? While it's cooking, we are going to make a baker hat. Do you have a white piece of paper? We need to get a big piece of paper. Get a piece of paper. And then I want you to get a lid. A cottage cheese lid or something about this big around is going to be perfect. You don't have to trace something. You know what? We could actually use the salt. Should we trace around the salt today? I think we could do that. That is something you already have out. That will be super duper easy. So we'll do that. And you know what? We just have a couple of minutes and then our waffles are going to be done. So get your paper. And you know what we're going to do first? We're going to take it and we're going to trace it. All right? So we're going to take our paper and I'm going to put mine on here so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to take this salt shaker and I'm going to put it right here on the end. And I'm going to get a pencil. Can you get a pencil? Or I guess actually you could use a marker. I'll use a marker because my pencil is hiding on me. And I'm going to draw around the bottom of the salt. Okay, there's 1. That's kind of hard for you to see. Let's try a different color. Let's use a black one. That's going to be easier to see. Okay, get your black one. We're going to put it on there. Okay, let's try tracing that again so you can see it better. You draw around it, and if you need some grown-up help, you can. There you go. Can you see it? Let's draw another one by it. Oh, guess what? It's time to check the cookies we put in there. Let's look. I'm going to lift it up right here. This is it. I'm going to pull the lid off, and then I'm going to hold it for you to see it. Can you see those cookies? They're kind of hot, so I'm going to take a fork And I'm going to use the fork to lift up a cookie. Whew. Can you see that cookie? That is a waffle brownie. I'm going to let it cool for just a minute. Let's get the other one off. Okay, there's the second one. And we're going to let it cool for just a minute. I've got a cookie rack right here. Let me show you the cookie rack. We've got some cookies on here. And when they're cool, we're going to check them out. All right. Now, let's go back. We got to do one more of these to make our hat. So I'm going to draw around it one more time. Now, I have 3 circles. Do you have 3 circles? Let's make our 3 circles. And you know what we have to do with these circles? We're going to need to cut them out. So you're going to need to get your scissors. And we're going to need to take these and cut them out. Can you cut out these circles? And we're going to make a baker hat. How do you make a baker hat out of circles? Is that kind of funny? Okay, there's one circle. Okay, I'm going to make another one. We got to cut out another circle. Open and shut. Open and shut. This is the way we cut, cut, cut. Fingers on the bottom. Thumb is on the top. Hold the paper. Don't let it drop. Open and shut. Open and shut. This is the way we cut, cut, cut. Now, we're going to save our paper because guess what? This is going to be our band to make it long. So we're going to cut a long strip right off the end of it. Okay, there's a long piece. And let's see, we can do a piece. Let's try a piece this way too. Because we need a long piece. And then we need a stapler, or if you don't have a stapler, you can use some tape. We're going to tape this to make it really long. If you have a stapler, you could staple it. And we're going to make it so we have a long piece. And this is going to go around the back of our head. All right? Now, let's see. We need a little bit of glue. And we're going to take our 3 circles and we're going to put them together. So we're going to take our first circle. I'm going to put it right here. And it's kind of hard to see. Let me put it on a darker paper so that you can see what I'm doing. Shall I do that? Let's do a darker paper and then you can see what I'm doing. Okay, now can you see that? I'm going to take this and just right on the edge, I'm going to put a little bit of glue and then I'm going to take another circle and put it right there. Okay, then we're going to take another one. We're going to put a little line right there. Now I have 3 circles and guess what that is? That is the front of our baker hat. And we're going to take our baker hat. Now we got to take this and we've got to glue those circles right on there. So we need to put some glue right on the end. Let's put some glue right on the end of that. All right, there's the front of our baker hat. And it's going to go, we're going to need to measure it. This is the front of it. And it's going to go all the way around and we're going to glue it on the other side. And then you can be a baker. Should we look at somebody that is a baker? Let's look at a picture of a baker right here. Let me find you a picture of a baker. Look at this baker right there. He's got a baker hat on. Do you know what? That is somebody dressed up as a baker. But could you be a real baker? You could, couldn't you? Because you know how to make waffle cookies. All right, they're cool enough now. Let's take a look at them. Look at that cookie. Now you could put frosting on it if you wanted to, or you could put some powdered sugar on it, or you could just break it apart and eat it. Mmm. tastes like a brownie. Did you make that? Good job. Your family can eat those cookies all the day if they want to, and you can put on your baker hat and you can help them. Now, when you cooked it, could you smell it cooking? So you had to use your nose. Now, remember, we tasted the cocoa. Did it taste very good? No, but now that it has some sugar in it, it tastes yummy. That's what makes things yummy or yucky. Could you see, does it look good? It looks good, doesn't it? And it's not burned. Our eyes tell us if it's burned. Our nose can help us know if it's burned or not. When we open up the waffle iron, we can see if it's cooked inside or not cooked inside, and we will know. That's the fun thing about being able to use all of our senses while we are testing to see if something is yummy or yucky. I think you have done a great, great job today. I hope you and your family enjoy your waffle brownies. I hope you've had a good time. I've had so much fun being with you. And you know what? We always have to make sure our hands are clean. We always have to make sure that we're using our five senses. We're watching what we're doing. We're smelling what we're doing. We taste it to make sure it tastes good. We listen to make sure it's cooking right. In fact, we listen to make sure, and we see to make sure we didn't get any egg shells or anything in there. Did we do lots of testing? And then with our fingers, we are really careful to make sure that we stir and that we can use our fingers to even taste the dough and make sure it tastes like it's supposed to before we cook it. I hope you have a fun time. I love being with you. You are awesome. See you later, alligator. In a while, crocodile. You're awesome, possum. See you soon.